Hey guys, Hector here. Some of you guys might be following some of the US news going on. Some of you guys might not, I don't know. So people have been talking about the Confederate flag recently because this white dude kind of went up into this church that was mostly black people church, and he shot and killed about 9 people, and they found out that this guy was like racially motivated. He was pretty much against black people, and before the whole shooting he would have a bunch of pictures of him, you know, waving the Confederate flag and all this stuff. And there's just all this stuff going on about the Confederate flag. Some people say, oh, we should be allowed to use it. Some people say we should just take it down everywhere. Some people say we should only take it down on state buildings. And I'm wondering, why is it even up on government property, like state buildings like that? And so there's a bunch of people just shouting at each other from all these different directions, and the message is just getting all muddled, or whatever you want to call it. And so basically, and some people are blaming the president. It's just getting pretty damn annoying. So basically, if you guys don't know, the Confederacy was a group of states from the United States. During the Civil War, they kind of seceded from the United States and said, we're going to do our own thing. We're calling it the Confederacy. And they actually never used that flag that we know now as Confederate flag. They never used it as their country's flag. Part of it was kind of in the corner. Well, it would be, if you guys are looking this way, it'd be the top left corner up here, and the rest of the flag was other stuff. But it was kind of talked about, and it was used as a battle flag for, I believe, is North Virginia or something like that. And, well, Confederates, North Virginia, you know, there isn't a North Virginia here in the United States now. And from what I come to understand, the Confederate flag as we know it now wasn't used until the mid-1900s, when we wanted to kind of desegregate like the schools and, well, pretty much everything in the United States, because there's a whole segregation thing going on. And so we wanted to desegregate it, allow everybody to come together. And so people started bringing in Confederate flags and saying, no, I'll keep it all separate. And that's pretty much the Confederate flag we know today. That's where, well, you know, like I said, it did come from the battle flag and all that stuff. But now some people are saying, well, it was part of the Confederacy, and the Confederacy was going off for slavery and states' rights to own slaves, and the economy, because they wanted to do their own thing, the economy, because they believed the economy would have crashed if they got rid of slaves. Really, it did come down to slavery altogether. Some people will try and say, no, it was this or that, but really the root problem was slavery. But even if we ignore all that, you know, forget slavery, which is stupid, but let's just say, for argument's sake, ignore all that. They were a group of states that left our country. They were traitors and said, F you, we're doing our own thing. And then they lost the war, the Civil War. So why would anybody still want to be a part of that? Why would anybody still want to use that flag, even though it wasn't part of the country's flag? Why would anybody want to give any like credence to that, or whatever you want to say? To me, that's just stupid, and that's why I don't think anybody should be waving the flag. You still have the right to own that flag, to wave it and all that as part of the First Amendment of the United States. You can own a Nazi flag if you want and wave that. That's how it is in the United States. But you can't say we should put it up on government property and government buildings, since everybody's money goes into the government building, and everybody is pretty much has a right to the government building. So you can do it in your own house, but you can't say we're putting it up on government property. And then it gets into the thing of certain stores are saying, we don't want to sell this stuff anymore. And like Walmart, Amazon, and people try and say, well, Amazon sells Nazi flags. No, they don't. You can try and look. I've seen some, like, I think I saw like a tin case or a wallet or something that did have the Nazi flag on it, but they do not sell the flag overall. They sell other products that have the Confederate flag on it, like toys or whatever, but they do not sell the Confederate flag overall now anymore. So, and then I heard other people say, oh, you can't be offended by this, or everybody's offended by this, etc., etc. And yeah, you're allowed to get offended, you're allowed to offend, But just remember both parts. Just because you're allowed to offend doesn't mean things are going to go well. Doesn't mean we can't hate on you for being offensive. Doesn't mean you can't lose friends for being offensive. But at the same time, for me personally, I've had a bunch of dumbass friends share some dumbass political ideas on Facebook, but I was never one of the people to say, you're not my friend anymore, or defriend you off of Facebook. Everybody has differences of opinions in certain things, so I'm not just going to get rid of all my friends because we have different views. I'm not going to enclose myself in a box of only certain political views and all that. I'm open to everybody's views. Doesn't mean I'm going to agree with them, but, you know, and I can say you're a dumbass if you're being offensive. That's just how it is in the United States. So I hate people. Well, I dislike people who do get offended over every little thing, but I also hate people who say, what, are you going to get offended over it? I'm allowed to be offensive. Yes, you are allowed to be offensive, but I'm allowed to hate you for being offensive. And other people have made some great points that the United States flag isn't exactly clean, because some people try to point slavery to the Confederate flag and racism and all that. The United States flag is not clean. We've gone over a huge genocide of the Native Americans with the United States flag, and then other atrocious things like the what were they called, internment camps, or I don't want to say concentration camps, but for Japanese individuals during World War II. So we've done a ton of horrible things in the United States over the United States flag, but this is still the United States of America. My counter would be, this is still the United States of America. We're allowed to fly the flag because it's the country's flag, and it represents everybody in this country still. The Confederacy isn't a country anymore. It's in the past, it belongs in a museum, so shut up about that. That's my opinion. And the other point people made was, so you guys are focusing on the Confederate flag and not this dude who did all the shootings? What about gun rights, or, you know, gun regulation, or mental health and all that? Honestly, I don't think, well, I'm not sure I want to say it's a mental health issue. I want to say everybody that can kill anybody has some form of mental health issues. Even soldiers in the United States Army and military. If you can actually kill a person and be fine with it, you have some sort of mental issues. But some people do kill people and come home and aren't fine mentally. They have all this post-traumatic stress disorders and all that. But, you know, forget that part for a second. Even if you say, you know, it's not a whole mental issue that you can kill somebody, other than that, I think the guy's totally fine. He's just a racist. And so I kind of do think we should look on certain gun regulation issues, but if you even try and mention that here in the United States, some people will get on you in a second because of the whole Second Amendment. Even though people don't really know much about the Second Amendment, the whole history of it, the actual wording of it, which is a well-regulated militia for a free state. And they try to say, well, militia is technically any person and this and that, and forget the well-regulated part. And it's just super annoying when people try and talk about political issues and they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Because I'm cool with you kind of giving your opinions on political issues, but don't say, well, what about the Second Amendment, when you haven't read the Second Amendment. But yeah, as I said in my gay marriage video, we have a whole federal system. So we have a national law and government, and then we have states laws and governments and stuff. So each of the 50 states has their own laws, but if something that the federal government or the national government says is illegal or makes a certain law, it might kind of go all over all the state governments. And so a lot of states have different laws for guns. Some states will make you wait days or weeks for background checks and to get a gun and all that. In other states, I believe you can just walk in and fill out some forms or something and then get the gun right then and there. So I'm all for more kind of regulation with guns. I think they should do thorough background checks and check your illness or mental stability and all that. And I think it would be kind of cool. This is just my opinion, and some people are free to disagree. I think it would be cool if you actually registered your gun with, you know, the whole government. I know some people heads would explode when you say this, but you have to register your gun with the government like you do with your car. And then when you want to sell your gun, you have to transfer that stuff over to the other person, just like you would do with a car. If you're selling a car, you have to transfer all that stuff over to the other person. But there are some loopholes in some states where you can just sell your gun to another person and you don't have to do any extra paperwork. But as I said, it depends state to state, and laws differ and all that. So yeah, I kind of went from a Confederate flag issue to a gun issue, but well, there is a whole reason. So yeah, what do you guys think about the whole Confederate flag? You can even give your opinions on gun issues. I'm cool with that. And so yeah, just leave a comment below, and I guess like this video if you like it. I don't know if you like my thoughts. And I guess that's it. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see more of my opinions and other just fun videos. Whatever. I guess that's it. So yeah, see you guys later.